Welcome. So, new year, new Apple, and here I have the iPad Air 13 from 2024. It's obviously the M2 version, I don't think there's any other one. And I will go over unboxing along with a quick look at this carbon copy of previous versions of tablets. So anyway, let's just get straight into it. So, let's just yoink those neat little tabs. Yoink, yoink. And voila, we're basically in. Okay. Let's quickly boot it up as well. Okay, I'm gonna set it to the side as I am working with limited space. I didn't mean to throw that, but obviously it's just paperwork, so no, I did mean to. And below that we have our cable, Type-C to Type-C, and that's about it for $800. Actually, sorry, $950. So let's talk about the specs right here. Screen size, probably unsurprisingly, it's 13 inches. It's running a resolution of 2048 by 2753. And it is a liquid retina IPS. What? It's an LCD IPS display. You gotta be shitting me here. 600 nits of typical brightness, boasts an 86.1% screen to body ratio, and a pixel density of 264 pixels per inch. And in terms of the glass itself, we have scratch resistant glass, all oleophobic coating. If I remember correctly, this was for like water kind of thingy thing to basically prevent just smudges and stuff like that. So yeah, anyway, and that's basically the display. One thing that is missing right here is high refresh rate. Oh, you gotta be shitting me. You want $950 for a device that doesn't even have 120 Hz refresh rate? You got to be clowning. Oh, wow. Fantastic. Anyway, let's just move on. I am already very negatively kind of set towards this device. I am always towards Apple. I'm not gonna deny that. I just consider their devices to be overpriced pieces of shit, speaking lightly here. And this obviously just proves the point. It's a near $1,000 device that doesn't come with a pen and is basically the bare minimum of a freaking tablet. The only benefit right here is the good processor that it has, but that's about it. Other devices have a good processor too. Anyway, let's continue on. So, in terms of the different versions of this device with like storage and RAM, minus the RAM actually, we can get this device with as low as 128 gigabytes of storage and 8 gigs of RAM. $950 device entry price for a 128 gigs of storage that you can't expand using an SD card. You got to be clowning me. You might as well just grab Lou because Apple is going dry. Now we can actually spec it out to 1 terabyte and 8 gigabytes of RAM, which still, for a device that tries to imitate a computer, 8 gigabytes of RAM is just a joke. So not sure what kind of crack pipes Apple is using there, but my god, they need to like just put them down. So that's the storage. It doesn't even specify what kind of storage type it is. So, I mean, it's Apple, so they never specify anything. It's basically up to people to take apart the devices and figure it out themselves. But anyway, let's move on. So, if we flip it over to the back, we have a single camera setup. And that houses a 12 megapixel f1.8 wide sensor with dual pixel PDAF. It can record videos at 4K up to 60 frames and 1080p up to 240, though that is a slow motion. And typically it goes to 60 with like normal. And that also includes gyroscopic electronic image stabilization. I'm not sure how gyroscopic stabilization is electronic, but okay. And then at the front, in the, where is it? Right here, which is barely visible, we have a 12 megapixel f2.4 aperture, 122 degree ultra wide lens that will allow you to record videos at 1080p up to 60 frames. So here we go. Those are the cameras. They're not standing out all that much, but it's a tablet, so let's be honest, you're not expecting your tablet to be great at taking photos. If you're gonna go around and take photos with your tablet in public, people will probably look at you weirdly, though nowadays almost everything is acceptable, so who knows. Anyway, last thing to mention will be obviously the processor, which is the M2 silicon right here, and it's running iPad OS 17.5.1 out of the box. And well, that's about everything in terms of these specifications. In terms of the build quality, it's just what you would expect from a tablet from Apple. Literally, I don't think anything has changed. They look exactly the same, or again. So aluminum back and frame with our volume rockers on the side or at the top, depending on how you hold the device. Then we have our fingerprint sensor and the power button right here. And on the other side of that, we have our charging port along with speakers on top and bottom, as you can see. And well, that's about it. Nothing else to this. For $950, or well, euros, you get a pretty measly device, I would argue. I don't care that the processor here is good, as everything else just kind of feels lackluster. And I don't know if Apple just thinking if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if your shitty devices are looking the same for the 4th generation, then it is broken. Why would I spend my money if I have a perfectly functional device that offers the same exact things? Like, there isn't even a high refresh rate here. Why would I even upgrade to this? It just defeats the purpose. It's supposed to be a computer. Now, typically you upgrade your computers so they work better, but because the operating system here is already dog shit, so the mediocre or the good specifications that were previously don't really mean anything, where when the device basically will perform almost as good as this one will. So there's no reason to upgrade to this one, I would say, as it gives you no discernible differences right here. And just mediocre upgrades in terms of like benchmarks and stuff like that. This is what companies will basically give you to try to convince you to upgrade it. But if you look at it objectively, what are you shaving off? Like a second, milliseconds off of opening apps, seconds off of rendering some 4K or whatever footage is. So it basically means nothing in grand scheme of things. So yeah, like I said, I'm not a fan of Apple, not gonna hide it, and this is not even like, if I even take the logo, it's just unimpressive with a high price tag. Can't really imagine ever spending money on such a thing. So anyway, with that being said, hopefully you found this video fun, informative in some way, and if you did, don't forget to smash like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.